Good one.
Time magazine named Donald Trump Person of the Year. How nice. They see him as a person. Usually he's just a stick of butter. I wonder if Mr. Trump sees it as a great honor.
It's a great honor. It means a lot, especially me growing up reading Time magazine, and it's a very important magazine, and I've been lucky enough to be on the cover many times this year, and last year. But I consider this a very, very great honor.
Not so fast, Donald. Here's the article's opening graph. Quote, "We have named the person who had the greatest influence for better or worse." So which is it this year, better or worse? Nice setup. Why not paint an eye patch on him? Compare that treatment to this on People. Look at that.
Aww.
Or this. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I get it. Trump's nobody's nice guy. But what pick would they prefer? Sorry, Donald Trump won. Here's why. He became president not just against all odds, but by uprooting tradition. He's an historical first, exploiting social media, a bare-knuckled comic in an entertainment bubble. He did something many dreamt of trying, slaying the beast called political correctness. He jammed the left-wing weaponry, charges of racism, intolerance, sexism, hate. They stopped working. Trump said to his accusers, "So what? Come and get me." And when they did, he already had millions of Americans behind him. Trump attracted so many people who were either victims of PC malice or just sick of hearing about it. 2016 saw more than the birth of a rare politician, but the death of identity politics. The pendulum swing from phobias over pronouns to jobs, migration policies, and Mr. Obama's unspeakable fear, radical Islam. It was about turning outward instead of inward, country, not campus. Maybe others could have done it, but Donald Trump did. Yeah, he said some crazy stuff, but that's the risk we're willing to take in 2016. In the next 4 years, we'll find out if it's worth it. You know, KG,
yeah.
I'm kind of sad that he didn't get Person of the Year because the tweets would have been great.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Look, I mean, he's the one, isn't he? I mean,
it's kind of obvious.
It'd be a total diss if you picked anybody else. It's really true, to be honest, because it is the most miraculous thing that's happened in politics. He's definitely rewritten all the rule books about how to win in politics, about how to use social media, about how to go around the press and get it done yourself. He figured out a way to scale the media wall that usually that barricades in the Dana Bruno cheese grater, and get around it and reach the people themselves directly. He took his case directly to the American voter, and they loved it.
Eric, I'm surprised they didn't name President Obama for the third time.
They tried to. And who the runner-up was? Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
So if they're going to make her the runner-up, he had to be the winner. Funny that the editor said, and she was on the Today Show right before Donald Trump spoke on the Today Show, she said never did they have a more unanimous vote than this time that Donald Trump was going to be the Person of the Year. But then she went on to say never have they been more split on whether it was going to be good or a good thing or a bad thing. I thought that was interesting. But look, everything Kimberly said is 100% right. He flipped the script on D.C. He turned the deplorables, he gave the deplorables a voice, and a voice they haven't had. And what you had said, he crushed PC, and I love that idea. He got rid of gender politics, at least for now. But think about this. He won where no one thought he could win. He won in Pennsylvania. He won in Michigan. He won in Wisconsin.
North Carolina.
He won white women by 9% when people were saying he can't win with women. Granted, white women, I get it. Hispanics, 28%. I mean, people were saying he can't win Hispanics. 28%, that's a great number. African Americans. He got 8% or 9% of African Americans, and that mirrors what Romney and McCain did combined. So, look, the guy changed politics,
and
you guys keep pointing this out.
200 counties that President Barack Obama won, he was able to take this time.
Things that have been normal in politics for 250 years or 245 years, whatever it is, change is coming.
Yeah. Dana, one of the other reasons, his frank assessment of radical Islam. You could argue that his prescription may be off. You could argue about that. But his diagnosis was real and sincere. And I think even Democrats and liberals admit that at this point, that, like, you know what, maybe if our side had just been honest about this, we might have had a chance.
Having a clear-eyed, being very clear-eyed about the threat,
right,
and being willing to say it.
Yeah.
Because there is a hesitation. I know that, I am a person who is fearful of offending people. maybe I shouldn't be, but
No.
I actually just kind of am. I always have been. The other thing about this, in terms of that opening graph of how they have the cover, it's a really nice cover too. They didn't do as like some sort of like crazy picture of him, like it's a really nice portrait. But the opening graph suggests that maybe it's not such a good thing, as Eric's pointing out. They're divided about that. But the more that the left paints him as this evil, crazy person, the more his approval numbers go up, because most of the country is saying, I have an open mind, let's wait and see, and they're kind of enjoying this transition period.
One thing, Juan, that I don't understand, the press should be kind of happy. I mean, this is not Ted Cruz. This is not a right-wing apocalypse. If you look at the kind of the things that are going on now with trade, social issues, Huntsman being brought up, Donald Trump did what Barack Obama could never do. He pushed the Republicans to the middle.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. That's an interesting point, because I think right now the Democrat strategy in Washington is in large part to play along with Trump on a lot of these issues, especially with regard to entitlement spending, Obamacare. Exactly what's Trump willing to do that's not in keeping with what the Republican establishment, Republican orthodoxies have been on Capitol Hill. This will be interesting to watch that play out. But getting back to the Time cover, look, he's no Martin Luther King Jr. He's not Gandhi, right? And of course,
not yet, Juan.
I don't think it's coming.
Not yet.
And I think Clinton, Bush, Obama, all were man of the year they won the presidency, and he deserves that. The thing about it is, when he was asked this morning about being a divisive candidate, because on the cover it says, you know, leader of a divided
Can I
America.
show that?
Sure, go right ahead.
This is Donald Trump talking about Times accusing him of being divisive.
When you say divided states of America, I didn't divide them. They're divided now. I mean, there's a lot of division, and we're going to put it back together, and we're going to have a country that's very well heeled, and we're going to be a great economic force, and we're going to build up our military and safety, and we're going to do a lot of great things, and it's going to be something very special. But to be on the cover of Time magazine as the Person of the Year is a tremendous honor.
So, Juan?
Well, I think he took it as a tremendous honor. He invited the writer up to his pension as Palace in the Sky, right? But I must say, I think that he magnified divisions in the country, and he's brought a new level of fear and outrage among people. I mean, when you think of the whole issue that you raised, which was he blew apart political correctness.
Yes.
The other side of blowing it apart is, I think you have seen the degrading of civility, the degrading of...
That's the risk, though, but it was about time, because nobody had ever shown up to do that.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
And he didn't start it.
Oh, I think that he exaggerated the divisions within the society.
You mean exacerbated?
And I think exaggerated, too. I mean, exacerbate is fine, but I think he exaggerated them, because I don't think America is as dark and fearful a place as the one he presented.
Unless you step out in line. Like, if you work at Fox News, you know how divisive the media can be when you have organizations coming after you.
And who was more divisive in the last month of leading up to the election than Hillary Clinton? She had no policy. All she had was, he's terrible. Here's why you shouldn't vote for him. He's being backed by this group. They're deplorable. They're racist. They're sexist. They're misogynist. They're Islamophobic. They're isms.
Irredeemable.
The whole gender, the whole identity politics, that's all she played. She didn't come up with anything that was pro-American, and he did. He kept saying, we're going to make America great again, we're going to bring jobs back, and his message resonated. While she divided, he was, I think his message was, uniting.
I think you get lost in the idea that he won, and it's incontrovertible, he won the Electoral College map. But if you're talking about Americans...
I think he lost on me.
Right. But when you're talking about her and the popular vote, she won not close. She won by a lot.
Can I quote a friend of mine, though?
So when you talk... No. Let me finish responding to you. You say, oh, she didn't have a message. She did have a message, apparently. 2.5 million more Americans than Donald Trump agreed with her.
A two-coast message. She just forgot about the rest of the life.
Like New York counties, because it's a highly populous area.
Can I just address this? Tyrus, who's a professional wrestler, said it best. It's like saying you won the game because you got the most yards. It's about the most points, not the most yards. And that's what the votes were. You got the most yards, but you didn't score the most. Kimberly.
Whether it's passing yards or rushing yards.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Kicking
All right, so...
Kick Derek?
No.
No, there's no kicking yards.
Okay. Sorry, almost obeyed.
I'm kidding, I knew that.
Stick to the cheese grater. Well, I like it.
Okay.
Okay, you want to say something?
Sure.
All right, so he didn't create the divide, and right when we were listening to that, and Dana had said it and echoed it and said that flat out, The divide was already here. We have been watching, we have been talking about, we have been reporting on the divide that has been going on across this country. But he found a way to bridge the divide, to be able to talk to people, to reach out for those that felt that they were forgotten, those Americans that are hardworking, that make up the fabric of this society, and the people that are saying, wait, has anybody listened to us in so long? Some of the same people that thought there was going to be hope and change with Barack Obama and felt they got shortchanged were ready in the first in line to get paid by Trump.
Well, I think there are people who feel, you know what, we are left behind, forgotten, and they feel as if Trump, in fact, demonized them in order to get going. Let me do, before we finish.
Can I just I want to get to Dana, because I think that this whole division thing is somewhat exaggerated by the fact that you have two factions. You have two parties. Of course it's going to be divisive when it's over. One side lost.
It's built that way.
It's built that way. In fact, it's kind of like the smoke that comes out of the chimney. It's the fire are the two parties, and the smoke just reflects what happens after an election. You have one party that loses, one party that wins. It's naturally a divisive feeling, but that's the way it goes.
Well, it's polarized, and if I would imagine, and Juan can correct me, but when the Reagan Democrats decided to vote Republican, I mean, there was a similar thing, right? So there was divisions, and then Ronald Reagan was able to get them to vote for him. Then it goes back to, then you have Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump. I mean, like, it's a pattern that we see as repeated.
But
what he was able to do, though, what he was able to do is see that outsider thing was not only good for him on the Republican side, he saw an opportunity to pull some of those outsider voters who were sick of the establishment on the Democrat side and pull some of those Bernie Sanders voters. I haven't seen the number, but I think he probably did better among Democrats than maybe the last few Republicans. I would certainly think better. No? I don't know. I could be wrong, but my guess would be that Trump did better among Democrats than Romney did or McCain did.
Probably.
And that was probably the reason why he won.